Among all the bad news about the national economy and state budgets, there is one bright spot: North Dakota. North Dakota has the lowest unemployment rate in the nation, 3.8%, amid a labor shortage and a comfortable cash surplus, thanks in part to a growing petroleum industry. It's the only state that has not had a budget shortfall in the last 4 fiscal years. North Dakota led the nation in the job and income growth in 2011. When we think of North Dakota, the images that come to mind are the central Great Plains, Lewis and Clark on the wide Missouri, and sweeping fields of wheat characterizing the state's long history and diverse agricultural production. Agriculture has long been a standing economic engine in North Dakota, employing nearly 24% of the state's population in related industries. North Dakota ranks first in many of the cereal crops and second in many others. With cash receipts of more than $4 billion, agriculture, production, and manufacturing are North Dakota's largest industry. And yet, it's the other engine that is getting all the attention these days: North Dakota's petroleum industry, which some are calling the largest oil boom in U.S. history. It's estimated that North Dakota's oil production, currently third in the U.S., will surpass that of Alaska and Texas by the end of 2012. A massive oil reserve buried 2 miles underground has put North Dakota at the center of a revolution in the U.S. oil industry shift that has radically altered the fortunes of this area. Currently, oil is being pumped from the Bakken Formation at the rate of 550,000 barrels a day, and the geology survey suggests that oil reserves of the Bakken and other newly discovered fields could push recoverable oil to 24 billion barrels. If correct, easily qualifying as one of the largest fields in the world. The iconic windmills and grain silos of the prairie towns are being joined by the ever more prevalent oil drilling towers as the new symbols of prosperity. There are 6,600 wells in production and nearly 300 wells in the drilling process at any one time, with another 20,000 wells projected over the next 20 years. These two economic engines, agriculture and oil, have pushed North Dakota to the top economic ranking for all states. All of North Dakota is benefiting, but perhaps no community is better situated for long-term, stable, and sustained growth than Minot. Situated in north-central North Dakota, this city of 50,000 is home to the Minot Air Force Base and Minot State University. The Air Base has a population of 13,000 on-base personnel and contributes $493 million to Minot's economy. And Minot State University contributes almost $200 million annually to the local economy of Minot. Minot is unique from other metro population areas of North Dakota like Fargo and Bismarck, as it is not only the hub for agricultural distribution and food processing, it straddles the Bakken. Though oil drilling will one day move to the outskirts of Minot, it's the preferred location now for the oil company's headquarters as well as their families. 84 companies are involved in the North Dakota oil industry, and many of the major companies have located their headquarters in Minot. The leaders of Minot intend for many years on maintaining and improving the livability of Minot, are using the approach of new prosperity to attract clean industries and good-paying jobs to the city. They've been successful on both agriculture and oil, and recently in the technology industry. One such success story is EID Passport, a technology company focused on identity management services. Its CEO and chairman of the board is Steve Larson. Steve was a resident of Minot for the first 12 years of his life. And so, 3 years ago, in 2009, needing a Midwest secondary location for EID Passport, Steve reconnected with Minot and found a favorable, progressive business climate and a highly educated and affordable employment base. EID Passport, now with 50 employees, celebrated a grand opening in July 2011 of their new offices in a converted YMCA building, attended by both U.S. Senators, the governor, and the mayor of Minot. During this same time, much of the rest of the former YMCA has been remodeled and occupied by other uses, including the conversion of the former racquetball courts to loft apartments. And on those trips to renovate the why, and consistent with Steve's visionary thinking, he was seeing even more potential for downtown and new business recruitment. But he and his team could not ignore that all of Minot has a critical housing shortage, a demand that exceeds supply by thousands of units. Steve understands that the renaissance of downtown could only begin by introducing hundreds of new apartments to the core. Having seen in Portland, Oregon, and other cities the importance of a vibrant, attractive downtown to recruitment of new employees and families, Steve assembled his design team to begin an Imagineering exercise, which culminated in a dynamic urban design vision for Minot, which we call Imagine Minot. Earlier presentations of this vision in Minot have received overwhelming support in the community and in the press. Imagine Minot. Now let's look at this vision. Minot is typical of many medium-sized communities across America, which has seen much of their downtown retail and commercial businesses leave for suburban locations, leaving behind older buildings and paved surface parking lots, shown here in white. There is a renaissance underway in many cities across the country where city leaders are rebuilding their urban cores, taking advantage of urban services already built. Parking lots become shovel-ready development sites, speeding up the process of urban revitalization. Minot possesses a number of these shovel-ready sites in its downtown, here shown in red. These sites are mostly owned by the city, and sites in orange are owned by Trinity Hospital, which is also looking to expand in the downtown core. These development opportunities are rather evenly distributed throughout the downtown, which means that all of the downtown will benefit from the addition of many new residents and commercial businesses, and very importantly, a significant increase in the amount of public parking. Shown here in green is the location of what will become a dynamic urban park, used by all who work, live, and visit downtown. The park will be designed for a wide variety of athletic and community events. If we allow ourselves to imagine that each of these properties are developed to heights of 4 or 5 stories, similar in scale to the existing downtown, then we can begin to visualize a new downtown Minot. We needed to start somewhere, and it seemed most appropriate to Steve to purchase the balance of the block of the former YMCA. This purchase has been completed, and final architectural drawings are nearly done for this first Catalyst Renaissance project. Now, let's take a digital tour of what this new 83-unit apartment building will look like. Like all of the intended developments, each project will have an extensive amount of brick and other quality details and finishes. A small cafe and daycare facility will be located along 2nd Street Southeast, just across the street from the new urban park and playfields. Both Steve and the city leaders understand the importance and benefit of having several projects underway at the same time. And so, in addition to the redevelopment of the former YMCA and the construction of new apartments at 2nd Avenue and 2nd Street, this first phase will also include the development of the block-long half-block at 1st Street Southwest adjacent to the Wells Fargo Bank. As illustrated, this project will have 120 units of apartments, over-street front retail spaces, and 3 levels of on-grade parking, shielded from view. The intent of all these proposed designs is to adequately park the new residential units while replacing and adding significantly to downtown public parking. The intent is for all of these downtown sites in this vision plan to be completed in 4 to 5 years. And a strategic plan and schedule is in place to do this, which means that other phases must steadily move forward in groups, simultaneously. One example would be to develop next the 4 sites illustrated here in an area that could eventually be called the North End District. These 4 sites will contribute over 400 new apartments and sidewalk retail shops to the overall vision of a revitalized Minot. And similar to all other sites, all required parking will be on site on multiple levels. As you can see here, it is intended that each building fits comfortably in its surrounding neighborhood, with material and details sympathetic to the character of downtown. This building, identified as Site 5, will infill the quarter block directly across the street from the west side of EID Passport and will have approximately 60 residential units. Buildings at Sites 6 and 7 infill the remaining open space for the north end. Here again, the attention to appropriate scale and quality materials will always be maintained. At this stage in the redevelopment of downtown, much of the renaissance of downtown will be complete, continuing the momentum to build out the remaining downtown sites. 2 significant sites will follow, with buildings at sites 8 and 9 which will be constructed simultaneously with the new urban park. A concept is being studied to build a layer of parking under the park, adding 250 spaces of much-needed public parking. Finally, to complete the South End development, buildings at sites 10 and 11 will be added to the urban plan. With the completion of these 2 buildings, 1,200 new housing units will have been added to downtown, together with many new shops, restaurants, and new and revitalized commercial office space and a multi-use urban park. The renaissance of downtown Minot will have happened, a goal set over 10 years ago by the citizens of Minot. The goal for downtown was to develop and structure a renaissance that will facilitate development, redevelopment, and rehabilitation of the area, encourage mixed-use development, promote the return of economic vitality to the area, and create a thriving city center, which will become a commercial, residential, and recreational destination for residents and visitors to the city. To fully visualize the potential for Minot, it's helpful to know that many towns and cities have undertaken similar visions and goals as those of Minot, with great success. One of these places, which continue to receive acclaim as a national model, is the Pearl District in Portland, Oregon. As these 2 images illustrate, the Pearl District has undergone a near-total transformation in a few short years. All of the sites in red are either new or redeveloped residential and commercial projects that have been completed and occupied. Most of the buildings in the Pearl District are similar in scale and appearance to buildings envisioned for downtown Minot. New buildings and existing businesses, all part of a dynamic urban neighborhood of residences, shops, and cafes, where residents can find their everyday needs like grocery and pharmacy within a short walk. And walking and biking are commonplace where all the services are close at hand, reducing the number of car trips. And during those good weather days in Portland, the sidewalks are full of residents and visitors, enjoying the excitement of the businesses and the conversations to be found in this urban neighborhood. And no illustration of the Pearl District would be complete without understanding the importance of city parks, for family gatherings, for recreation, and for scheduled events like this Saturday market gathering. And so, hopefully, this presentation has been helpful to you to imagine Minot and to encourage you to build the dream for the next chapter for a magic city. Imagine Minot.